that she can see on her end. All right. And let's see. Let's see if we can get this whole backdrop okayed there. All right. Is anybody seeing me yet?
Not me.
Okay. Hey, brother Gringo, Royce is calling out. Speaking of Royce, right after this stream at 6:30 p.m., that's Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be over on Royce's panel. And tonight, folks, we've got a real special show for you. We're going to be discussing the Black Sabbath type of all that's going on with Black Sabbath. Let's see what's going on here. I've got my volume up, I guess. We can take care of that. Hey, we're a work in progress. What can I say? All right. This is my control panel, which I have not had on past streams. I've got it into split view mode. It's an iPad that I'm using, and that way I can keep up with um, some of the comments as they're going through, and hopefully not spend too much time watching myself. Being off kilter there. It's not quite the same what I'm seeing there. All right, folks. So this is the bottom line. I'm Michael Noland, and I did want to talk about what this stream has kind of morphed into. At first, I called these fireside chats, and no doubt they are. That's why I have behind me a screenshot or screen recording of a fireside going on. And I never want to lose touch with that. But tonight, I'm going to start calling this the Tribal Forum. All right. Because the more I've gone on with my streams, I've realized that I have a lot of interaction with you folks, both in my polls, in my regular videos. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who responded to my recent video, again, about Black Sabbath and the fact that they are reuniting for one more show. And we're going to be talking about that at Royce, like I said before. At Royce in the house, I should say, at 6:30, immediately following this stream. Okay, and a big shout out to all of you who are participating tonight. I would imagine we don't have quite the crowd we might normally have live because the Super Bowl and all of that stuff going on. But tonight is going to be a really interesting tribal forum. Now, what do I mean by a tribal forum? A tribal forum, for me, is where we all come together and everybody has a say, right? You guys have elected me tribe master, but it is still a democracy, guys. All right. All I can do is direct kind of what we're going to be talking about and then let you guys have at it. All right. So I wanted to announce tonight a series of upcoming polls on my channel. All right. And what we're going to do is we are going to carve out of 50 plus guitar players, I'm hoping. I've got quite a few on my list. And we're going to develop a top 20 or a top 25 list. I haven't made up my mind about that. You guys let me know in the chat what you think about that. Should this be a top 20 top guitarist of classic rock list, or should it be a top 25? Because I'm looking at who won't make that list, and frankly, there's just not enough room in the top 25 for the greatest guitarists on the planet, in my opinion. All right, so in order to get those polls going, what I'm doing here right now is getting to this list that I've put together. All right, and of course, let me find out what's going on here. All right, there we go. There you are. Sorry, folks. I'll get better and better at this as time goes on, I promise. But anyway, I've got a few guitarists that I wanted to mention, more than a few, and I want to hear from you. Now, Kimberly is in the chat, as per usual. She's the producer of the show and head moderator. Welcome, Gringo. I made you a moderator, and I will continue to add moderators to this because I want to keep this stream on the up and up. There's no room for trolls on this stream whatsoever. All right. So tonight we're going to be discussing who deserves to be on this top 25 or top 20 list if you decide. That'll be the first decision you guys will make tonight. I'll go with the majority. So, Kimberly, keep a track on the tally on that and make screenshots of those, right? So I can take a look at that later. All right. So now on my list is all. Now I'm going to do something different than I did when I made the top bands of all time, right? I reserved, as tribe master, I reserved the top 3 spots. I'm not going to do that this time, folks. Now, this one's going to be all up to you, and everybody is fair game. Now, I've got to get this down to no more than 28 names to do this multi-part poll, and those polls will be coming fast and furious, folks, because there's just too many parts to it. So look for like a new poll every hour or two, and keep track of it. Okay, see if you missed any, and go back, because your votes will count until we get to the finals. And then the finals will finally decide who the top 20 or the top 25 guitarists of all times are. All right. Now, for me, the greatest guitarist in rock and roll always begins with the Yardbirds. All right. Think about what came out of the Yardbirds. I mean, think what came out of the Yardbirds with Eric Clapton, Derek and the Dominoes, right? Cream. John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, right? A great solo career, right? And Led Zeppelin through Jimmy Page. And of course, Jeff Beck, had this amazing Jeff Beck group. Then it was Bogert, Appice, and Beck, right? And then he went totally solo, got into a lot of jazz infusion. All right, so he was all over the place. So my top 3 contenders would be those in this order: Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton. All right. Now, as we go down the list, and they're fair game. If they don't get the votes, they're going to be off the list. And I am going to include this list once it's official on the channel page, just like I have included the new Mount Rock Olympus list, replaced it with my original list because it was voted so by you folks. All right. So this is where I'm going. And as a channel, we'll see exactly what you folks, the thumbprint of you folks on the channel page and everything. All right. Okay. So when we get past that, my next contender is always, and it will be, Richie Blackmore. Now, I looked at a list by Rolling Stone magazine, the top 250 guitarists, right? And you know what they ranked Richie Blackmore at? They ranked him at number 75. And you won't believe the guitarists that they put in there. Now, I may refer to that article from time to time. I've even got it pulled up if I need to go that way. All right. Okay, so after Richie Blackmore, you've got Jimi Hendrix, Carlos Santana, either Rory Gallagher or Stevie Ray Vaughan for me, vying for that next spot, right? Okay, so those are my top. David Gilmour is vying for that spot as well. Sorry about that, folks. And right underneath that contingency, I have Dwayne Allman, Tony Iommi. Now, I once made a video, and since we're going to be talking about Black Sabbath tonight on Royce in the House at 6:30 PST, shameless plug, shame on me. I shouldn't be doing this stuff. I mean, I should be concentrating on what we're talking about. But, I did a video, and we were talking about Tony Iommi as a guitarist, and he isn't in my top 10 personally, right? And I had even wondered, would he make my top 20? But I did concede, man, that guy is Mr. Riffmaster himself. And if I hold myself to my own standards, which is not just riffability, but vocabulary, All right. And overcoming a difficulty, playing through plastic fingertips, all of that, on second thought, he may rank a lot higher. All right. After that, we start talking about, again, Dwayne Allman, Alex Lifeson, Johnny Winter. Now, dig this. On that Rolling Stone poll, they ranked Johnny Winter 166. What the hell has happened with the legacy of the Winter brothers, and especially Johnny Winter? He was my favorite. He was the guitar player, right? And when I was growing up, he was always in the top 10 and vying for the top five. I saw polls where he was in the top three. Okay. And I understand that was at a time when blues rock reigned supreme and everybody was into it. And other forms kind of dominated later. But that doesn't take away his greatness as a guitar player. I've considered him maybe the greatest. Well, Rory Gallagher. There's two of the greatest. Roadhouse, blues based, slam it in your face rock and roll. All right. Now, as far as Eddie Van Halen, I would rank him in my top 10 as well. All right. Now, his style of playing isn't exactly my favorite approach to rock. But man, those early albums, I'm a sucker for Flash, Dash, and a lot of Cash, I guess. But I love those early albums and what he brought to rock. Okay, you got to keep that in mind. There's a whole lot of reasons why certain guitar players should reign supreme. It's the vocabulary, what they offered to rock as an art form, their dexterity, right? Their speed as well. Their modal playing can even go into it. There's a ton of reasons why, or a ton of reasons that make a guitar god. And all of these I've mentioned so far have been guitar gods, in my humble opinion. Joe Walsh, one of the early pioneers of guitar and guitar tinkering. We'll be mentioning Brian May here in a moment. Both of them were kind of tech wizards on their own level, building in their own special effects so that they could do live what other guitarists couldn't do. That's way before the Eagles, by the way, folks. If you're going to mention Joe Walsh, you got to mention Don Felder. I mean, Don Felder is probably technically a superior guitarist to Joe Walsh. My favorite guy between them is Joe Walsh. I just like his whole approach. Of course, Andy Summers was high on one of my lists that I've already covered. George Harrison, deceptively good. A lot of people won't include him. But he didn't just get good, like, say, on Abbey Road when we started hearing that brand new style of slide that he would incorporate and bring in and affect rock and roll with. But when the Beatles first came out, keep in mind, though, that first 2 or 3 years, George Harrison was as good as any freaking guitar player on the planet. He brought all those licks. Now, a lot of those early licks kind of went out of style. Kind of almost being identified as, late 50s, very early pre-Beatles riffs. And people, he would go down on the list over the years. But I think he deserved a mention and a spot. I don't know if as high as 20 or even 25. I'll get to some of your comments here in a minute, folks. Billy Gibbons, Angus Young, Robert Johnson. Now, technically, Robert Johnson, when I listen to his stuff, he wasn't very good. I hear mistakes. I hear even beat mistakes, but I also hear a daring and exciting style of guitar accompaniment and him just singing into a microphone as they brushed away the wax. My God, you got to put him at least at honorable mention. Of course, Freddie King, BB King, and my favorite of the Kings, Albert King, one of the fastest guitar players ever. Bo Diddley. I mean, he created an entire subgenre through just the beat playing of his guitar. Joni Mitchell. All right. If you're going to include acoustic rock, and we do here on the channel, because classic rock also included great acoustic acts. And that's why you'll see Stephen Stills come up right after her, although I would probably choose Stephen Stills. I think he deserves to be in the top 10. The man is freaking amazing. Kirk Hammett, Steve Howe, Keith Richards. Now, when I saw that, and he was extremely high on this list of Rolling Gnomes list anyway, and I wouldn't have placed him anywhere near that high. I wouldn't place him in the top 20. I'd have to think if I could squeeze him into the top 25. Technically, I would put Mick Taylor as somebody that I might consider for the top 20. All right. But you do have, I understand the argument for Keith. Keith also, like Bo Diddley, kind of developed that Stones style, that down, 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 that almost trip over your feet as you enter into a room style. So, but it's not up to me, folks. It's going to be up to you. And by the way, Kimberly is taking screenshots of anything that you're suggesting right now so that I don't miss that, because that's all going to be part of this whole process, because it's going to be you and I that are going to build this list. And tonight is my main thing. After tonight, it's going to be you that builds it. Okay, so after that, I was thinking Mick Box. I love Uriah Heep. He was a great, and is a great. I just saw a recent um, concert footage of Mick Box and what he calls Uriah Heep. Okay, he's the only member left, but he was hot still. Even today, he's playing great freaking guitar. And if you guys aren't familiar with Uriah Heep, I would strongly suggest you give him a listen to, or if you had heard him earlier on, yeah, no, not my thing, try him up again. Amazing band. Of course, Chuck Berry. I mean, his basic duck walk, his whole style, playing, two strings at the same time to almost chordal effect to rock and roll is still the very basis of what every single beginning lead guitarist learns. You have to go through Chuck Berry to get to Van Halen, man. You just have to do it. So, is he technically one of the greatest guitarists? No, but he established licks that all the greatest guitarists have to learn. So there you go. Of course, Leslie West of Mountain, Steve Vai, Steve Lukather from Toto. All right. How about John Cipollina from Quicksilver Messenger Service? He was damn good. I love that guy. Joe Perry, Dimebag Darrell. All right. And Dimebag Darrell kind of has a connection to this channel because a good friend of mine, Dan McNew, who used to co-host on Royce's show, had a connection with Dimebag Darrell. There's a whole story involved. We'll never get to everything I want to tonight, but he started, what was it called? The Ride for Dimebag, or the Dime. I forget the title of it. And it was world famous. I mean, this thing happened, and it was Dan that put that together. A sad end to a guitar god, no doubt. How about Nita Strauss? All right. And Warren Haynes. We've just been recently discussing Warren Haynes. All right. You got Dwayne Allman on there, Warren Haynes, plus he has his own style that went way beyond what Dwayne Allman ever approached. I think he's worth a mention. Alan Collins and Gary Rosington of Leonard Skinner. Now, those are my suggestions to put on this list. All right, there's over 50 of them there. I believe I got to them all. Some also mentions Larry Carlton, who played with Steely Dan, The Edge. If you're going to put Andy Summers on a list, you better put The Edge on there. Prince, all right. How about Prince? Fantastic lead guitarist. James Burton, who played with Ricky Nelson, and some say was like a progenitor of the lead guitarist. Dick Dale, all right. A subgenre in rock, but an important one, a very important one. And Mark Farner. Now, is he the best lead guitarist? No, he's good. He's very good. But he does percussive guitar and everything like he did with Grand Funk. I think he's very underrated. And of course, Jeff Skunk Baxter. All right. So that pretty much covers my suggestions to you. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I want to make sure I'm doing okay in time, is I'm taking screenshots tonight of all your suggestions, all right, because they will get preferences, all right. I need to hear from you as we're going on in the chat. Looks like we've got over 60 of you watching right now. That's really good news on the Super Bowl. Wow, you guys are awesome. So here's the deal. Do some of these guitars that I just mentioned make any sense to you whatsoever? Good. Thank you. 67. Oh, people are filtering in. All right. Well, listen, what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to mention this. I got tripped up here, folks. Me are strong and can lift heavy objects. That's about it. For me, I sometimes lose my place. But what we're doing is establishing a longer list that I have to cut down. All right. So what I need from you is as many suggestions in the live chat tonight, because Kimberly is babe, you're taking screenshots, right?
Yes.
All right. She is taking screenshots. So if you're making suggestions, I haven't got to the live chat just yet. But that's okay. That's around this time that, I start turning my attention to what you guys have to say. But I'm going to use those suggestions, and the guitars that you suggest that should be on this list will have an edge, because I've got what here, 57 guitarists on my list, and I need to get it down to no more than 28. All right. And if we're going to go with a 25, the great top 25, then maybe 32, which means a good 20 or more of these guitars are going to bite the dust. And if you guys have enough people that I didn't cover, of course, that'll get preferential treatment, and your guitars will be included, and I'll take somebody off of this list. Once I've molded it all to that point, folks, it's all you. All right. I will be giving you 4 choices. All right. And I will be including top tier guitarists with less top tier guitarists that are on the list, or at least, top 10 kind of guitarists, as evenly as I can. And nobody gets a vie on this one. Okay. Remember, I reserved spots 1, 2, and 3 for the Mount Rock Olympus of all bands, for the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and Pink Floyd. But the rest of the list was chosen by you folks and put together by you folks. And guess what? I used your percentages, and that's how they're ranked. All you have to do is go to my channel page, hit more, and it'll take you to that page that tells you all about me. And the list is right there after I have an introduction paragraph. That's the next thing you see on that page. All right. You guys chose that. And since this is now, and if you're late to the stream, I have renamed this stream the Tribal Forum. Okay. Because I want this stream to have a say so on what I cover on the channel. And I want this, all of you folks, to not only have a say so about what I cover, but also your mood as a general viewership as tribalites. What is it that you say? And that first Mount Rock Olympus list that I put up there was the first step. This is step 2 tonight. All right. So let me get to the live chat here. Kimberly, you rock. I think she does. That's why I'm married here, folks. Okay. Brandon, hiya, folks. Hope all is doing great. Same to you, my man. Uh, Divining Dragons in there. Yeah, saying hi, as usual. Divining Dragons always one of our most social commenters. I love this. Let's see, Adam Finley. Good to see you. You know, Adam Finley is another guy that makes a lot of comments on my channel. All right, and I'm glad to see him in the crowd tonight. Ian LaBelle, Frank Zappa, he almost made the list tonight. So there you go. What do you guys think? Frank Zappa, if anybody thinks he should be on this list, you know, type it in and we can get a write in on him. I'll take somebody off that list. So it's that simple. Beck. Okay, Beck. Arpeggio says Beck.
Santana,
Yeah, Santana Carlos. Oh, you know, good Lord, he's in my top 5 just for his vocabulary alone, and then his amazing skills. You know, uh, just nibbling at Jimmy and Jimmy's feet. You know, he has to be high, but it will be up to you, folks. Richie is always, you know, Angela, and it's good to see Angela. Angela is often over at Royce's. I'm so glad you're here on my stream, Angela. Yeah, Richie, she said something very important. What's that, babe?
Frank Zappa.
Yeah, I just talked to her about that. Caught that one. But Angela says that Richie's always ranked so low, and I can't believe that. You know, and the only reason that I think that might happen, I was thinking about this just before the stream, Angela, um, is that with Purple, he divided lead guitar duties with a keyboardist, the amazing John Lord. And maybe they see him more as a dueling guitarist, which is the biggest mistake I think. But it's Rolling Stone too, Angela. You know, Rolling Scum magazine, I should say. They wouldn't know a guitarist if it hit them in the head. As a matter of fact, if some hip hop guy came up with a turntable, they'd go nominate him for the greatest guitar player in the world. That's about all they know these days. They're so PC. I'm absolutely mortified by the whole magazine. I used to enjoy it early on, but they haven't been the same for 30 years. Good to see Royce, like I said in the chat. Uh, Eddie Hazel, okay, from Funkadelic. Anybody else thinks that Eddie needs to be on the list? Let's see. Yeah, Divining Dragon. Lordy, I'm hearing so much wonderful names here. This tribe is so well informed. Divining Dragon, you are absolutely. I'm just, I'm semi well informed, but every time I think I know something about rock and roll, and then I put out the videos, you guys amaze me. You know, you guys even occasionally send me on to more trips. You've given me ideas for videos, and I would never pit my knowledge against the mass of the tribe. Are you kidding? But together, folks, see, this is what I want for this channel. If you go over to my channel, all right, you're going to see that I have regular videos. I have now live streams. Okay. I also have shorts. I have polls. All of this has been done purposefully. I want my channel to be interactive. All right. A lot of my shorts are based on a poll, or a poll is based on a short. You know, all of a sudden I'll do a series of shorts and I'm going, hey, there's a poll in the making. All right. And so I get comments from both the shorts and the polls. And the polls are based on some of my regular videos. And of course, as you can tell tonight, based on what I do here on my live stream. Okay. Now, here's another thing for this. By the way, am I backwards tonight? Looks, I'm seeing.
Yeah, you are.
Am I? Huh. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I was going to try something, but we're so far into the stream, I don't want to disrupt this. But the reason I even asked that question is I'm looking into streaming services, folks. And if I'm going to do that, the streaming service will have to be not that expensive. I mean, I'd love to do StreamYard, right? But they're $45 a month now. Yeah, and shelling out $500 for the live stream right now is a little bit beyond me. Okay, so I'm looking into what I can do as far as streaming. Uh, Predominantly, I like to do with the iPad. Now, the reason I do my iPad is I have my computer right back here. All right, and I upgraded the studio mainly so that I can eventually get into even editing my videos on that, their editing process or program. It's not coming to me right now, but anyway, and the problem with streaming on my computer, which I could easily do, is you would see what is in front of me, which is not what I want you to see. I want you to see what is behind me. All right. So I could maybe look into streaming in tandem. And I know my screen has capabilities of up to 4 devices. I could put 4 screens up there and or just choose one to watch. And maybe if I got that and then I could get the fireplace going, we'll see what's going on. I like the set. All right. Obviously, I've designed the set uh, to kind of reflect my personality, you know, what I am, who I am. If you're brand new to the stream, you've never been, this is your first night you've ever seen me. I'm Michael Noland. I'm a singer, songwriter, primarily bassist, but I play serious guitar too, right? And I have been in a plethora of bands, never beyond, that first circuit type of bands, just hovering underneath, going on that first circuit. But like most musicians, right? And I'm also a martial artist. I'm a second-degree black belt. What you see behind me, those are some of my what do you call them? My degrees. Okay, and I'm also a certified instructor with the UWTA, the United World Taekwondo Association, and I'm also a graphic artist. I actually learned to draw wanting to be a comic book artist. All right. And I like to mix it all up: music, martial arts.
68. Huh?
68. Cool. Welcome, folks. And I see 71, darling. That's okay. We've just broken like some serious territory here. That's wonderful. But anyway, I'm a guy that all of those arts are interconnected. You go, martial arts and music? You damn right. Everything you learn. I had a great teacher. Juan Fogel was his name, Mr. Fogel to me. He was 10 years younger than me, and he is the first guy 10 years younger than me that taught me more than I ever thought I could learn. All right. And I learned that everything is connected on this planet, folks, right? Balance in music, balance in the martial arts, right? The even you could talk. Well, I'm going to get into the martial arts, and that's not what this channel is about. I only mention it in passing. All right. So, what I want for this channel is a well balanced tribe, okay? Which means there's room for everybody's. I saw that, baby. She's a little bit behind me, folks. So she's sitting there counting. She's going, "Wah!" You know, that's why I married her. No, seriously, I'm into blah. But no, enough of that chit chat. Anyway, I've always wanted this channel to have its own voice. And as the channel grows, that voice becomes more prominent. Now, I started this channel, folks.
Dickie Betts, Robin Trower.
Dickie Betts, yes. He almost made the list. He almost made the list for me. Robin Trower, I don't know how I missed him. Thank you. Yes, Robin Trower, definitely, I think. What do you guys think? Need a couple of more Robin Trowers to make up for my mistake, all right? Or I may override that mistake because Robin Trower, whew, oh man, one of the best guitarists I ever saw live. That's all I can say. But I want let me check my time here, folks. Yeah, I got a few more minutes and I'll get back to the chat here. I want this channel to have a voice, not my voice. I'm just kind of, somebody has to raise the subject, right? And that's what my videos and that's what these live streams are all about. Somebody raises the subject and then, and I'm not shy about raising a subject and giving you my spin. All right. And that's okay as far as I'm concerned, because I'm going to tell you, you're free to disagree with me. Now, if you're going to type in this old fart, blah, 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 even that you're not going to get banned for. But if you're going to be disrespectful with your comments, those go right out the window. And I've got monitors now. Okay. And they all know. It's been a while since I've talked to Helene. I've got to see if I can find one of her comments, and I wanted to make her a monitor, for the channel as well. The reason being, and this kind of gets into what I was talking about, folks. The reason being is it was her sharing one of my videos with a much larger channel. I was still hovering under 1,000 subscribers.
Steppenwolf.
Okay, good. And what happened was I started off as a tech channel, and then I did a couple of videos on the Beatles, and it finally got into me after doing a couple of those. This is what I really know. This is what I really would love to talk about. And so it started to increase decently. I went from about 108 subscribers to about 750 when Helene shared one of my videos with Wayne, all right, from Soul Train Pro. Now, he not only shared my video, but he said some very nice things about me. He shared the entire video, and I got a ton of subscribers from that kindness. And that's why you'll see me always occasionally mentioning other great channels that I follow. Channels like Matthew Street, The Prog Corner. All right. Of course, Royce in the House. All right. There's more. Oh, the Canadian Stud Muffin. See it, Glenn from the Basement. And I've already said too many because I'm gonna forget about 10 more. All right. But the ones that I follow and stuff really support actively and everything. I don't know if I've got Glenn's up there yet, but I'll rectify that if that's not true. But that's on my channel page too. Just go down. I only feature channels that I actively support. All right. And so I want this channel to have a voice, and that's why we're going through what we're doing tonight. Let's see, what else do we have here? Jeff Beck, of course. Pete Townsend, good. Brian May, yes. Jimmy McCulloch, very good guitarist. I don't know if I'd put him in the top 25, but if enough of you vote tonight, he goes on the list. He's got a shot. Mahogany, yes. Mahogany Rush, yes. All right. Someone put Marino on. Oh, good. Clark Craig, hey, good to see you, brother. I've noticed a couple of I've responded to a couple of your comments in recent videos. Frank Marino, awesome. That's the way it should be. Oh yes, Eric Schultz says, "Hey Royce, I'm sure your show will be good." Well, of course it will, Eric. It's going to be amazing, and I'm going to be on it right after this stream. Believe it or not, folks, shameless plug coming on. I'm going to be on Royce in the House at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. That's tonight after this live stream. Yeah. How did I do, Royce? Did I do okay? Yeah? In the mail. Got it. Right. Okay, brother. Okay. All right. No, I love Royce. Total friendship there. He's a buddy. John Patterson, I would rather hear from Michael Noland. over what? But thank you. I'm glad that somebody wants to hear from me. It's a lonely job being a YouTube content creator. I can tell you. I can tell you. Doyle of the Misfits. Okay. I didn't even think of them. James Patrick Page, of course. Yeah, you know who I want at number one. But he's on his own. He's on his own, folks. But if I could make a plea, no, I won't put that on you. No, he's number one. He's my favorite guitar player, bar none. Him and Jimi Hendrix, who's probably number 4 or 5. I'm trying to remember where I place him. Both took risks live. That's what I love about them. And they would both paint themselves into a corner. Although the reason I give the nudge to Jimi in that sense is Jimi willfully painted, Hendrix just his flying high, and wound up in a corner and could save it every freaking time, right? Jimi goes, I wonder how far I can really, I wonder if this little alley has a dead end. Oh, 90-degree turn. And he was so good at it. So a lot of people would say, with a lot of live recordings, well, there was some slop there. I'll take that kind of slop over, uh, you know, uh, just playing benign little licks that we've heard 1,000 times, safe passages, that went. You do it 8 times because you're thinking of your next move, right? That's not, to me, a great guitar player. And guitar players who take true risks, and remember, Jimmy Page sharpened, he was already this fantastic guitarist. We all know with the Yardbirds, he was doing that. But before he got with the Yardbirds and Led Zeppelin and everything, he actively went to clubs to jam, to develop his ability to say something new they hadn't played before, to let his fingers kind of take over and his mind try to catch up and see what he could do with it. That's why he's my favorite guitar player of all time. So anyway, who else do we have here?
Prince.
17 Nussbaum Road. Right. Welcome, brother. David is my okay. Ian LaBelle says David is my overall guitar. David Gilmour? Yeah. David Gilmour, yeah, David Gilmour's very high. I have such this list. He's in the top 5. He's got to be in the top 4, but where does that put Carlos? Yeah. And would he even get to the top 3? So many people just make him the number 1 guitar player all the time anyway. A lot of lists just, pages below him, So I have a feeling he'll do well. Will he become the number 1 guitar player for the Tribe? That is still a question. Ernie Isley from the Isley Brothers, inspired by the previous Isley Brothers guitarist, Jimi Hendrix. Didn't they just call him Little Hendrix?
Joe Bonamassa.
That's what we called him anyway, back in the day. Joe Bonamassa. Good Lord. I should have put him on the list. And he's currently doing it all, I mean, he's in his prime, baby, right? So Joe Bonamassa, good Lord, absolutely. Oh, what are we going to do with this, Kimberly? We're being overrun. Mozart for lead guitar, right? Mozart, of course. But you know what? You said he might be responding to an earlier comment about Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore was inspired by Mozart, right? And that's why you hear him going. And of course, John Lord, being classically trained, could easily go there. And they developed that ping pong effect and even harmonizing with each other on lines and everything. Good Lord. I listened to, out of all my top bands in the last month, I've listened to more Pink Floyd than any other, not Pink. not Pink Floyd. Uh, who were we talking about? All right, he had a brain fart. Watch him immediately take off. Who were we talking about? Were we talking about Pink Floyd? Oh no, sorry, Mozart, Richie Blackmore. Thank you. Um, the guy, nobody went into that territory like him. And if you think about, he didn't go there like this tinkler, although he could play great acoustic guitar as well. But he went in with one of the heaviest bands on the planet. I mean, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, if they were in town, nobody else wanted to be in town, right? But right under them, you had the Stones whenever they wished to tour, The Who, but you also had Black Sabbath and Deep Purple playing major, major shows, man. They were top dollar bands. And Deep Purple didn't get there sounding too much like Mozart. But I love that whole uh, I love Deep Purple when they are Mozart inspired. I really miss John Lord so much. My favorite keyboardist in rock, bar none. Let's see, who else do we have? We're coming up on shutting down here in a few minutes. I did want to see if I can get to anybody else here who's been kind enough to show up. Joseph Blue, nice to see you. See ya. Deuces Wild. Hey, Dr. Rick, good to see you too, buddy. James Watson. Mike Keeler. All right. Mike, you made a couple of comments here recently, didn't you, on one of my videos? I'll have to go back and look. Good to see you. And if I'm wrong, it's still good to see you, Mike. James Watson's in the house, we already said. Steve Draper, Tommy Bolin. Ah, all right. Let's see if anybody's going to be voting here in the last few minutes for Tommy Bolin. The more Tommy Bolins we see. Oh my God. You know what? If Deep Purple had to go with anybody other than Richie Blackmore at that time, that's the guy that I wanted. I love Come Taste the Band. I love Tommy Bolin. Yeah, give me some Tommy Bolin anytime. What a great guitar player. Sad story, though. Of course, I mentioned Angela, Ian, of course. Clark, I've mentioned. Harry Mack, good to see you. Edward Madrid, Princess played while my guitar gently weeps like a legend. Yes, he did. Good point. Good point. Joseph Blue is in the house. Good to see. Ah, so many of you. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Bo Bradley. I might be, saying a couple of you. Oh, Jason Looper. Good to see you, my friend. Who else do we have here? Jeffrey Flint. Cool. Bill Hawkins. So many of you. Good Lord. Carl Adams. Oh, good Lord. You know what? I never thought we'd get this kind of crowd this early in these streams. I really thought I'd spend my first 10 streams trying to see if I could maybe get to 25 people. What's that, babe?
Helene is in the house.
Helene is in the house. Don't tell me.
Yes. She said she dropped by to say hi.
Okay. And I guess I already made you a moderator. I was talking about you. Were your ears burning, Helene? Just earlier. I was telling folks, Helene did the biggest favor this channel ever got. All right. And Helene's not much for me bringing this out, I think, because I've said that and she kind of goes silent, But damn, woman, you and your husband's, he's supported the channel as well. But it was you who sent one of my videos, or at least made mention of one of my videos, to Wayne over on Soul Train Bro. Soul Train Bro then featured two of my videos, and I must have gotten my first 9 to 15,000 subscribers with that kind of pull. Not all from his channel, but I definitely got thousands from his channel. At the time, I was less than 1,000 subscribers. Patting myself on the back, by the way. that I was 3/4 of the way to becoming monetized in less than 6 months. It's not like I didn't have any growth, it was doing well. But this phenomenal growth just launched me into a stratosphere. And ever since those two kind acts, first from Helene, second from Wayne, I've always strove to make this channel better. I feel like it's my responsibility, folks, to prove that Helene and Wayne, and certainly Wayne, I wouldn't want him to think ill of me. I want him to be proud of what I do here, okay? Because that man did me as big a solid as any other human being has ever done for me in my life. And I never, ever forget it. Now, he's not doing much on his channel, it's still over there, right? But I got to tell you, if he ever reconnects, Wayne, I swear to God, you've got my support, and I'll do my best to send business your way. And I can only hope that both you and Helene are doing well, in general. May life be gentle upon you, both of you. I mean it. All right, folks, let's see. That gives me about 9 minutes before I've got to shut down here. Actually, I like to shut down about 5 minutes before. So, what I want to do is say I've really enjoyed these. You guys, I can't believe this. We had, 77 at the top. I'll get my final count afterwards. But sometimes the final count isn't as many as I see on the screen, which is weird. But I never, ever thought I would get this big of a draw. All right. So I like to pay things forward, right? So for those of you who are still here, please join me over on Royce in the House. I have purposefully set up this stream as a lead in to his show, a show that I'm on more often than not. Okay. And it seems like for months, I'm pretty much on there all the time now. All right. So I love Royce. Royce is a personal friend. And Royce supported my channel back when his channel was bigger than mine. So, like I said, I never forget a solid. I'm loyal that way. And you guys would do me a big solid if you would join us over on Royce in the House. This man, let's give him one hell of an audience tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you. If I missed anybody, please forgive me. I'm new at this. I will get better. Quality, I might even come in right side out one day or upside, inside, whatever, the right way, not mirrored. Okay. So, anyway, as my usual sign off, I'm Michael Noland. This is the bottom line, but only the bottom line as I see it. Tonight, we heard some of your bottom line. I expect to hear a lot more, and I'll see you in my next episode, folks. Night all.